Before me and Saad get started with the podcast, I'd like to give a nice shout out to my good buddy, Chris Manassian. He is a new entrepreneur. He's got a company called Fight or Flight and Design, and they're a new clothing company. They're Canadian-based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That surrounds the idea of fighting, not just physically, but mentally as well. And it relates to all the struggles and obstacles that we have to face in life. And they have a web page coming soon. You can see their Twitter handle and their Facebook page in the description box. They're going to be doing lots of cool things like shirts. And then later on, they're going to be moving on to sweaters and jogging pants. He's a really cool guy. I met him before, and he's just trying to make his mark in the world and help as many people as possible. So definitely look out for Chris. He is a good guy. He's going to do great things. He's going to have some cool clothes, man. When I was talking to him, he's really passionate about this company, and he's going to do great things. He's a very inspiring guy too. You should check him out. In the description box will be his Twitter, his Facebook page, and his Twitter page for his fight company. So there you have it, guys.
To a world where we fight to the finish, and at the heart of it is one recognizable image. Originators, titans of business, brand architects, respected since 9/7. Sky's the limit.
What's up, guys? Today we got a special edition MMA Talk Canada episode. Got some news today that 16 fighters of the UFC just got released. A couple of them very shocking. I'm going to go down the list right now and tell you who's been cut. The most surprising one out of the bunch is John Fitch. And then we got Wagner Prado, Mike Russell, Jacob Voltman, Vladimir Matyushenko, Che Mills, Jay Hiron, Terry Edom, Paul Sass, Jorge Santiago, Mike Stumpf, Simeon Thorson, CJ Keith, Manatubo Tezuka, Josh Grisby, and Usually Gomes. And like I said, the one that pops out is John Fitch. He's had a great record in the UFC. In my opinion, he's still in the top 10 at welterweight. And I know he's not been the most exciting fighter, but there's no reason why he should be cut, Asad.
Alright, well, this news today came as a shock to I think everyone in the MMA community. John Fitch has been a staple of the UFC for so long, for so many years, and he's got an amazing record, 14-3-1. in his UFC tenure. That's amazing for anyone of his quality. And he's even ranked number 9 in the official UFC ranking. So it's kind of a head-scratching decision. But if you actually read the Mike Chiapera article on MMAfighting.com, you can kind of get an insight of why he might have been cut. One of the reasons that was pointed out is that he had a pretty sizable salary in the terms of $66K to show. And considering that a lot of newer fighters, especially the influx of women fighters and Strikeforce fighters, they actually get paid about $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, etc. And you could actually fill in the roster with more fighters if you just remove John Fitch. And also considering that he tied with BJ Penn, got knocked out by Hendricks. He won a fight of the night with Eric Silva, which was an amazing fight.
Yep.
But then he dropped a lackluster decision to Damian Maia. In that fight, he landed 6 significant strikes, and he was taken down 7 times. So Damian Maia actually took him down more than John Fitch actually hit him, which is crazy to say. So that will put things in perspective. But then again, John Fitch has that name value. He's been in the UFC for so long, but the name of the game is to put butts in seats, and unfortunately he wasn't really able to do that. He hasn't been too exciting. He's also had problems with the UFC before, especially the whole deal with the video game and not allowing his image to be featured in there. So he's had a bunch of issues with the UFC, so in that sense it's not as surprising, but at the same time it is, just given his ranking and the quality of opponents he's faced. But I guess the UFC has decided they want to move in a new direction, more new fighters, more new faces. It's time to build a sport and evolve with it. And John Fitch, although he's an amazing fighter, he's always going to be top 10, but he's never going to be the best, I guess. And I guess they realized that, do we really want to pay a guy that isn't going to really even be a top contender again ever in his career? And maybe it's about time we let him go, let him pursue other things, and maybe we can find new talent. We can pay them, less than what we paid Fitch, and we can get more of them. So I guess it just comes down to the brass tack and understanding the business of it. It's a business decision, obviously, right? But a lot of people are upset. People love Fitch just mainly because he is a strong competitor. But I guess you got to think in terms of business, right?
Yeah, very, very, very well said, Saad. I agree 100% with you. Like I said, I think exactly what you said there. UFC can find a guy that does exactly what he does and pay him for way less. And it's sad to see him go because he's good with the fans, and I guess he may not be the most exciting fighter, but he comes to fight every time. But hey, who knows? Maybe Bellator can scoop him up, and I hope that Bellator scoops up a couple of these guys. I hope that Bellator can pick up guys like Terry Edom and Paul Sass. And Terry Edom, he comes to fight every time. But just before his two recent losses to Hene Forte and obviously the one against Edson Barbosa, he's been a real exciting fighter, and he's had some great fights. The one with Falala Loto was a great fight. It only lasted like 18 seconds, but I remember watching that fight. I'm like, wow, I'm a Terry Edom fan. 'Cause that was a great fight. That was just a great finish, and I hope these guys don't just retire, and I hope they go on to Bellator or another top promotion, because there's a lot of good talent in these people who got cut. Just like usually he's Gomez. He's like, I think the UFC had him ranked number 10 before his last fight in the flyweight rankings, and I'm actually really surprised that they cut a guy that was that good in the rankings at flyweight. And then you've got guys like Jay Hiran. I think he might be able to go back to Bellator. I'm not too sure. I believe he won the welterweight tournament in Bellator before, so who knows? And then we got a guy like Che Mills. I was pretty shocked at that one too. Asad, Che Mills.
Yeah, I agree with the whole list. I guess is shocking, but you just gotta understand. I guess from their perspective. For example, Sass. He was a very, I guess, one-dimensional fighter, right?
Striker,
ground
yeah.
fighter, ground specialist. But as soon as somebody was able to neutralize it, Sass wasn't able to do anything. For example, the Castillo fight. Castillo's a really good fighter, but I guess they want people that are going to compete day in and day out. So now, I guess, if you lose 2-3 in a row, there you go. Pretty much the night's over for you. Like, Edom's a good fighter too, but he's also coming off 2 losses, right?
Yep.
And, one of them was a really bad knockout, and the other one was, I guess not. I don't know what to say about the last fight. But
He just got I think he was Forte was the bigger guy, and he just got out-muscled against the cage. He just got wrestled.
Yeah, no, I remember I watched that fight, and I was actually going for Hene Forge in that fight. Just because I saw him from Tough Brazil, so I thought he would take it just because he's a bigger guy. So I don't know about the whole Bellator thing, mainly because Bellator, under their business plan, they're reluctant to sign former UFC fighters, mainly because they want to build their own brand and their own talent. They want to create guys rather than take more well-established guys. Muhammad King Lawal is obviously an anomaly in that situation, but for example, they want the Michael Chandlers of the world, the Eddie Alvarez's. They want to create their own guys, and getting former UFC fighters is not really going to be able to do that, and especially because they will command a higher paycheck anyway, just because of their exposure.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll actually want to do that.
But
there was a recent New York Times article, and one of the interesting things is Bellator pays their fighters $3,000 starting to show, which is insignificant compared to what the UFC pays just for base level fighter, right?
yeah.
So they could obviously get different fighters, and that's probably what they're gonna do. I don't think they'll be able to pick them up. But the thing is, there are many other promotions. For example, there's ONE FC, and ONE FC is putting on some great performances up in Asia. There's also World Series of Fighting that's coming out, right?
Yeah, very true.
They're coming out with their second show. So they could possibly go up there. They could, there's MSC. They're not, like, the best promotions. There's RFA, but, like, the UFC is the premier place for MMA. And if you're not there, you're pretty much in slums of the world, of the MMA world. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality that we live in, right? So there's potential for them to go to these other promotions, but obviously it's upsetting to see some of these great fighters not being able to compete in the octagon again. It's the last time we'll see them, most likely.
But it's just sad to see some of these guys go because they've been great fighters and have had great performances in the past. So just to sum it all up, me and Saad are just appalled that some of these guys got released. And we hope that guys like John Fitch, Shea Mills, Paul Sass, and Terry Edom get a new home, a new promotion. And hopefully they can one day make their way back to the UFC. We'll definitely be doing more of these podcasts in the near future. Whenever there's a breaking news in MMA, we'll be on it, and we will have breaking news edition of MMA Talk Canada. All right, guys, enjoy the fights on Saturday. Peace.